Hello, it's TFL Wilderness and welcome to my channel, and I've got for you today another KTRT review. But before we get into that, I'd like to make an apology firstly to Mr. Dave Shotton because of that video that I posted up last week where I did a response to his Tag a Mate That Hates challenge. Now I got my facts wrong as to who the originator of the challenge was. I thought it was Mr. Zortrider, but apparently it was Dave Shotton's challenge. So again, apologies Dave for doing that. And I personally, the nature of the challenge, I found that I could not complete it properly. I could not tag somebody else with a toy that they dislike that I owned. I didn't know anybody I could tag with this challenge. So I came up with this compromise where I picked up a universally hated figure and I just threw it out there to anybody else who could who'd be prepared to take the challenge on. And that was a big mistake in itself. This upset certain people. It was never my intention to cause offence with this video. And as it became apparent that the video was doing more harm than good, I deleted it, and all I can say is sorry for everything that happened. But the video's gone now. The matter is over. Sorry for everything that went on. Okay? Right. On with the review. So put my reviewing hat on. Right. So KTRTs. Yeah, I usually buy 2 a month. You've already seen Tobot V rocket that I reviewed the other week. And at the same time I ordered that, I ordered another figure from the Hello Carbot line. Unfortunately, that auction got cancelled, and I got a full refund because apparently the toy was broken. And this is not the first time this has happened for that particular figure from an affiliated seller. So I will get more into details on that in my end of month bot haul in a couple of days' time. But anyway, when the refund came through, I decided, okay, I'm going to look on eBay for something else to buy. And I'm looking at the Tobot V line again. And there's a figure in the Tobot V line that's come out more recently, one of the later figures, and he looks kind of interesting. And I was tempted to get him, but he was kind of expensive, but he's quite big. And so I thought, I noticed my favourite seller had dropped the price on him to just below 50 quid. So I said, sod it, I'll go for it. After doing the auction, sometimes when you buy stuff off eBay through PayPal, the price they show you on screen, the auction price, and the price you actually pay, there's a slight difference in it by a couple of quid. But anyway, so I got this thing, and yeah, it's a major disappointment. But it has its good points, but there's a lot of bad points. And what I'm going to do with this video is kind of unconventional. I'm going to start off in the robot mode. So here he is. This is Tobot V Great Admiral. And this is the robot mode. And as you can see, it's quite big. Let's do the size comparison up front. There he is next to Combiner Wars Meg. So he is considerably bigger than a leader class figure. Yeah. Now, he's got a whopping great sword, and the shield's just fell off, yeah, because it does that. The shield's supposed to clip onto the arm like so, but it just falls off at the slightest provocation. Now his sword, as you can see, he doesn't hold it properly. And because of the articulation on the arms, he can't wield it properly. But let's get into the articulation. Right. Now, the head does not move. It does, part of the transformation, it sort of rocks backwards and forwards a little bit, but hey-ho. Shoulders do not go backwards and forwards. They do go that way. There's a double linkage on the shoulder joint. Elbows, 45 degrees. Hips. Now you've got these pieces here which hinder the hip movement. Now you can sort of lift them up, move that thing out the way, and then the Tokeys just fell out. It does that. Let's put it back in. So yeah, but again, you have to mess around with the leg kibble in order to get the hips to go out. 1 click forwards, no, 2 clicks forward, 1 click back. It's got 45-degree knee bend, and yeah, hardly any meaningful articulation in robot mode. Yeah, so the robot is a disaster. Looks great though. It's huge and it's really, you know, really detailed, but it's, I mean, it's got this whopping great backpack that sort of flaps around. It does kind of clip into place, but not really. He's got a lot of kibble. He's got these massive great bits on his sides of his legs. He's got these bits on his hips. He's got a whopping great backpack. He's got these shoulder guards which you can sort of move around, and then you've obviously got the shield and the sword. I mean, the sword, I mean, he can hold it in his hand, sort of, but because of the articulation, that's about as high as he can lift it up. Because, you know, you can't move his shoulder backwards and forwards. So that's a disaster, isn't it? So yeah, the robot mode is not very good. Very hampered articulation. In fact, you know, it falls well short of that minimum expectation that I have for a Korean bot. Even, you know, Korean bots, they aren't the most articulated things, but this one, you know, his shoulders don't even work properly, and he's got restricted elbow articulation, restricted knee articulation. You know, a few little improvements they could have done to this figure, and it could have done a lot more. But then again, these figures aren't aimed at, you know, collectors like myself, adult collectors. They're aimed at kids, and kids, they'd just be like blown away by getting a big, impressive, you know, bright red robot toy like this. They'd just be play with it as is. They wouldn't be bothered about, you know, do the arms and legs move properly. You know, that just wouldn't enter into their minds. Anyway, so there, that's that. Now, like I said, robot mode is very, very, very disappointing. However, this toy does have a redeeming feature, and it's the Tokey. Now, let's take the Tokey off, put the robot to one side. Now, this is the Tokey, and it's a scrunched up little thing. But when I unfold it, hang on, you can start to see what it's supposed to be. And then we'll just unfold the legs. And the back legs. And there we have it. It's a dragon. It's a oriental, like a Chinese style dragon. I mean, look at this thing. Isn't it awesome? And this is the Tokey. On the other Tobots, the Tokey, well, the Tobot Vs, the other Tokeys, they've got two modes. They've got key mode and sort of a very crude animal mode, and they sort of plug in to the robot to form, you know, to start the transformation. This guy is basically a triple changer. He's got two like key modes. He forms the you know, the chest plate of the robot mode, and he forms the figurehead of the alt mode for the robot. But I mean, he's got articulation on this thing. He's got like a head joint. He's got an opening jaw. He's got a joint there, a joint there, and a joint there. So, you know, you can get it in some zigzaggy poses. And the legs, they kind of got like an 180 degree sort of detent, but you've got the foot that moves, and then you've got like the kind of like the elbow, I suppose, that can move a little bit. So you can get it into some poses, and I will admit This is the main reason why I bought this toy, was for the Tokey. You can forget the robot mode. This is where it's at. This is where this toy really shines. The Tokey's amazing. I love it. It's amazing. It's brilliant. It's a little figure in itself. But obviously it has another mode for the alt mode of the figure. So we would try to get him into that. Let me think. So you've got to sort of fold the legs round again. There's a certain way you have to get these legs lined up. Right, I think I've got it now. Right, so that is him in his other alt mode. So you fold him up like that, and then put him to one side. So now we get on to transforming this guy into his alt mode. Now, I would admit, as awful as the robot is, the alt mode is kind of cool, and that's why I usually do alt mode first, robot mode second, but I decided to do it the other way around with this review because, yeah, you'll see why. So transformation, can bring them out, fold them back, then get the feet, flip the feet under, and then peg the legs together, and then you get these wings and just sort of angle them. That's the back half done. Now fold those down, fold the head away. Now you've got the backpack, sort of bring it down a bit. Then you, on the shoulder pieces, there's these little bits you fold up, and then you attach them together, fold in the fists, and then there's these double links on the shoulders, and they fold down, do it that way, like so. Then you've got to clip that piece in, and then this piece, you can see there's a big square there, it clips around the back of that, and then when it clips in you get a resounding click. And then there's a bit of parts forming. The shield and the sword from the robot mode, there is a couple of pegs in there, and the sword plugs into there. Put that to one side for a minute, and now you get your Tokey. Now it slots into the front here, and there's some little buttons, some little tabs that you've got to line up. There we go. And then finally underneath, get this piece, and then you clip it into place like that. And there we have Great Admiral in his alt mode. And it's a case of, what is it? Now, I was a bit confused as to what this thing actually is. And it looks all the world like a big fancy spaceship. And you kind of be right. But for the most part, the clue is in the name, Great Admiral. Admiral, nautical term for, commander of the oceans and the fleets. This guy, most of the episodes you see him in the show, he's flying around underwater. So this is some kind of submarine. It's some kind of submerged, deep submergence vehicle. And it's really unusual because most unusual of which he's got the Tokey. You've got the head of the dragon is at the front like a figurehead, and it's really weird. But the actual moulding and painting of this thing is quite incredible. I mean, it's got all these black, I would think like almost like solar panels all over it. It's got little ports here that have got numbers on. It says 0201. You know, it's got like weapons ports all over. It's got all these round things on the side. There's lots of really cool moulded details on this. I mean, look at the engines on the back. It's got loads of like booster engines on the back. It's kind of got like a conning tower here. It's a really cool looking ship. But you know, it's so out there design wise. It's so bizarre and weird. And yes, he does have visible head syndrome. Now that's a little bit of a disappointment on this mode. The head folds back into the fuselage, so to speak, or the hull, and it's visible from the top. I mean, you can sort of fold these things down to sort of try and obscure it a little bit, but you know, you thought they'd have put a little, either had a head rotation so you could turn the head round, or you know, a little panel that slides across to hide it, but no, they didn't think of that either, did they? So yeah, you've got and you look underneath, you know, it's got weapon storage, so it's cool. It's a pretty cool thing, and again, size wise, you know, it's huge. It's massive. It's a thing. It's a thing. I mean, I'm kind of doing this review back to front. I mean, I'll just show you the box quickly. I mean, the box itself, a typical Tobot V box. It's got his name, Great Admiral, down the side. Pictures of him, the kid, writing, and it's got that cut off there, and the usual artwork on the back. So yeah, it's quite a large box for a very large toy, and yeah, he's one of the biggest KTRTs I've got, as in individual figures rather than a combiner. Now this guy does combine. He combines with a guy called another figure called Tank Guy, who's like a little blue tank former. He's really bulky, but you can sort of take him apart and fit him onto this. You know, you've got some bits that go on his feet and bits that go on his arms, and you can combine the two together. I was thinking about getting Tank Guy because I think his alt mode kind of looks like a T-95 tank destroyer from the US Army from, you know, Second World War. Well, it was an experimental tank, but it's, you know, it's one of the biggest tanks ever built. If you know what a T-95 is, kind of looks like that, I think. But yeah, but this guy, I wasn't gonna get this, but then because of that thing that happened with that other KTRT that got cancelled on me, I decided to pull the trigger on this. It's a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, the robot mode is a huge letdown, but the alt mode, you know, almost makes up for it, and the Tokey is just plain amazing on this thing. It's incredible. I love the Tokey. So yeah, was it worth getting? I mean, I paid like just over 50 quid for this. It's big. It's, you know, it's got a decent weight. I mean, it pegs together quite well in ship mode, but in robot mode, you know, it's got pegging problems with the shield on the arm, and he can't hold the sword properly, you know, and it's all that stuff. So it's very much a mixed bag, but it's an okay figure, and it has its merits. Personally, I don't know if I'd had the choice again, if it hadn't been for the fact that, you know, I had to buy this as a replacement for a figure that I didn't get. Would I have bought this otherwise? Maybe not. I don't know whether I'd have pulled the trigger on it because of that reason, but yeah, so that's it. That's my review of this thing. Tobot V Great Admiral. He's a big red something or other in his alt mode. A big red submarine or spaceship, you make your mind up. Yeah, so that's that. I'll be doing my end of month bot haul video next week, couple of days time, so look out for that. So I've been Tiff on Wilderness. Catch you all next time. Ta-da.